Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. It's in the description below. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a 2020 Grand Seiko boutique exclusive, now available pre-owned. This model, which is the Grand Seiko High Beat GMT, is the SBGJ235, 40 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. The watch measures 14.4 millimeters thick by 46.2 millimeters from lug to lug. And if you include the solid end links of the bracelet across the wrist, it measures exactly 50 millimeters with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. This is the 44GS case style that's been made famous by Grand Seiko watches since 1967, and the original 44GS. We'll talk about that in a moment, but you can see the hardware and the software, all hardware in this instance, since it's on a bracelet, wearing well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Now there's plenty of clearance on both sides, but if you wore this watch on a strap, it would wear considerably more compact because the lug-to-lug span is relatively short. It will fit underneath most cuffs, not the tightest of dress sleeves, but just about all jackets and most shirts. And from side to side, you can really see the lugs are not approaching the edge of my wrist. I could say you could wear this on a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference on a strap, let's say 14 centimeters circumference on the bracelet. Taking a quick look at the bracelet itself, it's nicely made. It features a staggered link alignment, staggered link size, staggered link finish, so both polish and satin. You can see this lovely rolled bevel on the flanks. The flanks are all of high polish. The tops are satin, but you can see that lovely rolled bevel that continues from the lugs all the way down to the clasp. Now, if you look, you can see that the clasp is a substantial single fold deployment. There is a half link built in for precise sizing. Twin trigger release, so this one can't pop open. And because this is a steel Grand Seiko bracelet, removable links are fixed by screws, not pin sleeves. I mentioned 44GS, and the original watch to bear that moniker from 1967 featured a case very much like this one. A combination of curves and facets, angles and arcs. It is what Grand Seiko would describe as a polyhedron, but it's also got a little bit of an organic feature to it that you don't get on strictly angular geometries. There are some handsome curves here, and you detect more and more of them the more closely you look. What's important to note is that it is a hand-finished case. Grand Seiko calls this Zaratsu finish. Others would call it Zalitz polishing, but what it is unarguably is a mirror-style, optically smooth, distortion-free finish that causes the steel to look black from all angles except one reflective angle. It's what the Swiss would call poly noir or black polish, and it's a craft that takes about 3 years to learn if you're executing it on a case. Poly noir, of course, is used on very small pieces of Swiss movements. What's outstanding here is that it's executed on something the size and complexity of a case. It's a skill that takes 3 years to learn, and it's done all by hand. So these micrometric perfections from side to side, the symmetry of these facets, absolutely remarkable considering all of that is done by eye. Now you can see the watch does feature a screw-down crown and 100-meter water resistance, so this is a swimmable watch. On the dial, you have a handsome scatter pattern radiating out from the center. It is a sort of sunburst, but it's not like a conventional Swiss sunburst. This is designed to evoke the scatter of snow atop the peak of Mount Iwate in Japan, which incidentally is local to Grand Seiko's workshops that build this watch. Now that lovely pattern is rendered on a dial that is one of the highlights of a Grand Seiko watch. The dials and the cases. And the dials are better than Rolex. Why? Because they are more intricate. If you look closely, just look at the individual indices. These individual indices are striated on their top, mirrored on their sides. The individual facets are razor sharp, and all of this is done by manual polishing using diamond-tipped micrometric milling tools. The same treatment is used to create the sharp breaks and the mirrored facets of these Dauphine hands at center. You see how they're satin on their top and then mirrored and blade-like on their side? That is what you get with a Grand Seiko dial. Hand-finished components that are industry standard for attention to detail. Now you also have a 24-hour scale outboard, and you can see that there is a 24-hour hand. This is a GMT watch. So you have a local hour hand that you can maneuver independently using the crown. Note the watch is still ticking. Minutes, seconds, and the second time zone not affected. You travel east or west, the watch can drive the date in both directions, not a problem. Pull the crown out all the way, hacking or stop seconds. 2 independent time zones, set them separately, one in 24-hour format, one in 12-hour format. Now turn the watch over and you can see the movement that provides motive power. This is the caliber 9S86. It is a high beat automatic. So like a Zenithal Primero, it beats away at 10 beats per second, 36,000 vibrations per hour. And you can see that second hand as a result is a little bit smoother than with a 28 8-beat movement. Stop seconds, you've got the 2 time zones, 100 meters of water resistance. It pivots on 37 joules. And this 55-hour power reserve automatic winder is superbly adjusted in 6 positions, one more than a standard chronometer. And the timing standards, no worse than -3 + 5, are better than chronometer. This is an exceptional watch. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this 2020 Grand Seiko boutique exclusive.